Hello and welcome. So this is Mikołaj and I'm recording a short video showing you Fearless Fantasy, a game that's out on Steam. I have to say that when I first heard about this game I didn't know what to think and I had serious misgivings, but despite the fact that I'm not very good at playing it, as you will see, I actually like it a lot and I think it's a very unique game. So this is an RPG. Let me start an early save that I have. That's an RPG. We are here between, let's call them levels or missions or whatever. So the levels actually are combat. There are some talks in between. There are some animational intros and things like that. Now, in between the levels you can look at your characters and you can distribute some points. I have actually done that already, but as you can see I can still reverse the changes and do something else, so if I change my mind it's pretty easy. I have at the moment two characters, one who is Leon, who is like all-around fighter. He uses something that's pretty funny actually, yeah. So let me show you some weapons. The game is very unusual in its character, in its enemies, weapons, etc. So, for example, when I mentioned about what he uses, right? So this is a gun blade, that's the class. So it's a sword that can also shoot. So he's both a hand-to-hand combat character and he's also a ranged character. Now the other character that I have is quite typical archer, but also with some healing skills. So they have pretty typical attributes, as you can see: strength, agility, and vitality and endurance. Which vitality, that's basically your hit points depend on it. Endurance, actually, that may be a little confusing, but this modifies your energy. Energy is used to use skills in combat. Pretty straightforward. You can buy items which you can use then, like weapons or usable items. Instead of health potions we have something like this, hot potato dog. So like I said, the game is quite original in style. Now, I have played through the previous combat and I could play it again, for example on a different level. So knowing what to expect, perhaps I would be better. So let's try the next one, and I'm going to really suck at it. Anyway, every time you can choose 3 levels of difficulty. Normal is actually quite challenging, but you can also go for veteran and you can also go for casual, so you can choose something that will fit you better, and if you have a problem with a given combat you can just play this one on a different level, so that's pretty nice. So
bring it.
It looks like, at least for me, a lot like a JRPG, but in fact it's not a typical clone of this genre, so it has a lot of its own ideas. And it's turn-based, but with a twist. So on the left we have enemies, our characters on the right. Bottom we can see hit points, but also these pluses show the abilities that the enemies have. So for example, these two guys here are flying, so they receive only half of the melee damage, and this flower here actually lowers range damage that the other guys receive as long as this one is alive. So at the moment the flying monsters are going to receive 50% damage whatever I do. So as you can see, this shows this is an early combat, right? So of course not that advanced, but still there are tactical choices, so like getting rid of this one first, for example. So our character is selected. Let me I can choose a default attack which doesn't cost any energy, or skills which do cost energy, and they're also harder to perform. Let's start with a basic ranged attack, and okay, let's shoot this one. So now I get these icons and I have to swipe through them. Okay. I mentioned that I'm not good at this. I'm not usually this terrible, but you know, recording, talking and so on doesn't go well. So if you miss, you can do like I did 0 damage or lower damage, that depends on the attack. So you have limited time to do it. If you do it faster, you're going to have what is called here epic effect. So even more damage or some special effect. So the game itself is turn-based, and you plan your move in turn-based, but when you execute them, you have to act in real time. Okay, so let's try this one. Okay, that was easier, and that's also a nice element, I think. Lovely. So ranged attacks are easier to do. Okay, and I actually got my ass kicked. Anyway, so she can heal. Okay, so let's do that. Alright.
Playtime's over.
Okay, so I lost my one character. I could revive her. I have an item to do that. But that's actually pretty pointless because then I'm just going to get kicked. So let me use multi-slash, which means a few attacks on one character. And let's try to get rid of... Okay, so that worked. That was a good choice, and I probably should have started with this one. Alright. As you can see, I'm still missing the arrows at times. When I concentrate, it's not that bad. So it's not that the game requires touch interface, although I'm guessing it was actually meant with it in mind. But yeah, it's quite usable with a mouse. You just need to pay attention to what you're doing. Anyway, so we lost. But let's replay it. Now we know that the previous tactics were bollocks. So let's just concentrate on all our firepower. Yeah, and let's do the same with the other character. Alright, and round 1. Oh, great. Yeah, anyway, I don't know if you saw it right, but when I managed actually to go through the red arrows, which is the defensive move, I got only 4 damage points. When I missed, I got 3 times 8, so that's a huge difference. And what's nice is that it's not actually random, it's not a dice roll, it's what you do. So you can control, you can be better at the game, and so on. That's pretty nice and still pretty challenging. Okay, so now let's get rid of these guys. Okay, that was pretty good still, yeah.
Playtime's over.
And only one left. Let's use a ranged attack. As we know, flying enemies are half immune to normal hand-to-hand attacks. Okay, not that bad.
Hey.
Alright. By the way, if you saw the performance drop, actually the game runs very, very smooth. This happens sometime due to my recording software, so it's just a video version, not the game being unoptimized or something like that. So sorry about that. Alright, and okay, I'm going to try to shoot this one, although the slowdowns make it a little more difficult. Yeah, lovely. Anyway, nice thing here is that I don't know how many fantasy games I've played,
How's it hanging?
and most of the time you get, you know, orcs, dragons, trolls, or whatever. The enemies here are unique. Sometimes strange, sometimes a little bizarre, but all the time you can be sure that they are enemies designed for this game. And you may like their style, you may hate them sometimes as they look very strange, but at least you know you're getting something new. You're not just, fighting cliché after cliché. And with problems, but I've managed to win.
What's up?
Problem is, that was only a wave. If you look at the left top hand corner, you will see that there are 3 waves during the level, and your health carries. So actually, your mana or energy carries, right? So if I use something, that's going to be a little harder for me during the other fights. Of course, I can use items, which I can purchase in between the waves. But you still need to plan for that. You can't just, click and slash and if you won, that's great. No, you have to win 3 waves in order to get through the level. So some long-term planning is really necessary. Anyway, there's not much more in the game. I don't mean the content, but different gameplay types. No, not really. You're just doing that with different enemies, different situations, different items, and so on. So it progresses as a RPG would. But I think the enemies are so diverse and so unique that it's not really getting boring soon. And the game is really challenging. And combine that with very nice mixture of turn-based planning and quick real-time execution, which requires both thinking and dexterity. I think it's a very, very nice idea for a game. Actually, I would like to see this developed in a full-blown RPG with, complicated quests, storyline, and so on. I think this is a very, very solid basis. It doesn't mean that this is not an RPG. Actually, you have all the elements, and okay, we haven't seen any talks here, but yeah, the characters do talk from time to time, and they try to be funny, so the game is a little light-hearted when it comes to that. But still, it's not Baldur's Gate or whatever, right? You're going to play for the combat, not for anything else. Still, I think for its price, it's really worth picking up, and if you find it interesting, do give it a try. So, thank you very much for listening, and that's it from me.